Welcome back to Matchbox Revival. Today I'm doing the 47 series. 47 series started off with the 47A, was the Trojan Brook Bond T-Van. That ran from 1958 to 1963, where it was taken over by the Commer ice cream truck, the one I'm doing today. And then in 1968, the container truck took over and got the super fast wheels and carried on into the 70s. Today's build will be two vehicles. I normally keep one in original condition, and I usually restore one, so I have one of both. Seeing the condition of these two being rough, I'm going to do both of them. The box I have has the blue metallic paint. So this one is going to get done in the blue metallic color, and this one will get done in the original cream color. The cream color one came with the short stripes across the top of the roof here. That'll be the decal going on there. And the longer stripes across the roof were for the metallic blue, and it'll be going on there later. Windshields are cracked, both of them, and I only have one replacement windshield. So what I'll be doing is I'll pick the best of the two of them, and I'll probably use it on one of the models. Note on this model is the ice cream cones inside. When you buy this model, 90% of the time that cone has been broken off or missing. I guess this kid here, whoever had this before, didn't like the cream color and took a black magic marker or paint to it and even painted the man inside a little bit. So we'll look at all those details and we'll clean them up nice. So I'll start by doing some disassembly. There's two casting variations, one with the two slots on both ends and one with the single rivet in the front, the newer casting of the two. So I'll start by prying off the two slots from the front, and I put a nice little scratch into the base there. Beautiful. But it comes off fairly easy and pops off, I suppose, in the interior, and very badly damaged windshield. A little bit dirty. A little soap and water will fix that down the road. Also too, this video was posted recently with a radio playing in the background, and it got copyrighted, so I had to delete all the audio and redo a voiceover, which I'm doing now. So it would be much different than what I normally do on my videos, but let's give it a shot. So there's two variations there, the cream color and the blue. The blue will be done in the metallic blue. So I'm drilling out the rivet on the cream colored model, which would be the newer one. And with a little bit of pressure, it pops off. There we go. And time to remove the wheels and axles. Using the stone bit on the Dremel, I just pare off the mushroomed edge. Trying to show you there. And with the right angle and a little bit of caution, you can grind off that little lip and get the wheels and axles apart. Okay, so I'll do a bit of color matching now. I had some leftover paints from the 29A model, which was a beigey cream color. I mixed that with white and a little bit of yellow I added as well. And I got a real nice match to that cream color. That model had a lot of black paint covering it, but I was able to see an area where I could get a good match. And the blue, metallic blue, I did a Volkswagen, I think it was a 25A Volkswagen. And I had leftover paint from that. It was a lighter blue metallic, and I added some straight blue metallic and a little bit of silver, and got a good match for what I think would be the metallic blue color. So, bottles are marked and put away for later. So, I got a package delivered right in the middle of my video, and we're doing an unboxing. This came from the United States, from Mr. Larson, and I was in the hunt for bulldozers. So I was anticipating this being a bulldozer. So the box was packaged well, lots of packing, and that's just a plastic bag. And unroll, and it is a bulldozer. It's the 18B bulldozer with no tracks, so I'll have to get tracks down the road and take it apart and install the tracks. They would have been a 24 tread track, smaller size. Okay, as I promised, this is a Caustic Soda, so I'm going to hand hold the video and try and keep it as steady as possible for you. Little metal tin full of hot water, and the Caustic Soda. Drop the two guys in. And I probably won't stick around too long because it gives off a ton of heat. It'll start to boil. It is truly amazing. So I got the stuff back from the garage and the Caustic Soda. They come back fairly faded in color, and they need a good metal polishing when they come back, but not a drop of paint on them. So using the Dremel with the steel wire brush, just go over every inch of it, and a little bit of the base there. Now, as you can see, the front windshield bar is missing on the older one, and I have to replace it. So looking around for stuff, the A-pillar there is bent as well, needs to be repaired. I think I start off with a pair of needle nose pliers and gently try and form it back into straight. And with the measuring, I get a 1.5 on that center bar. So I have a hair clip that I brought out, which was flat and measured in very close to that same dimension, 1.4. So I'll just grind out the body and set in a small piece of that. So this is a little Dremel attachment, and I grind a little groove into it on the top and bottom. That way when we glue it, it'll have a little bit of strength as well. And cutting it a piece to the right length, testing it there. And I think that looks great. Time for some glue. This is the medium thickness glue I picked up at a local hobby shop, Hobby Hobby. And a little in the front as well. So I'll put that piece into place, and then I will hit it with baking soda and a little bit more glue on top of the baking soda. That looks good. So you can see the excess baking soda glue there. I just take a sharp blade and just clean it up. That does a real nice job of straightening all those edges out. But all in all, I was happy with that. And I just found out a little trick for pitting and chips and dents. Normally we'd prime them or spread spot putty with your little spreader across the area and sand it. But if you add lacquer thinners to the putty, it turns into a real thick primer that you can brush on to the areas that you need to repair. So the front of this was hammered pretty good by Playware. So I just covered the whole area, and then with some sandpaper, I go over it and remove all the primer I just put on, leaving the primer in the divots that were damaged. A little bit of pitting there I'm doing right now. So while the primer was drying, I brought out the plastic bits that have been soaking in soapy warm water. You have to be careful when you're cleaning the interiors on these. The ice cream cone is very easy and very brittle to break off. Very common for it to be missing. But it seems to do a good job, and they come out pretty clean. So one of the windshields I have to reuse. I have a new windshield and I have to reuse one of the old ones. So there's a small crack at the top of this one, but I go to my regular procedure there of cutting a Q-tip in half, putting it in the Dremel, and polishing it with plastic polish. So there's some 600 coarse sandpaper and that thick primer dry, and I'll just go over all the areas and remove all the primer, just leaving it in the crevices. This is the cream colored model with the rivet, and I need to drill out the post and tap it and put a button head screw in. So using some STP brake fluid as a lubricant, using a 2mm tap, taking your time. And then with a 2mm button head screw with an Allen head in it, just screw it all the way in and make sure that it fits nicely. So I'll start off with some cream color on the on this model. And clean out the gun. Get ready for the blue. Running some hot water through it right now. And some metallic blue on the other one. I'm going to do a bunch of light coats. Oh yeah, I like that blue. So I got everything back from the spray booth and really happy with that metallic blue color. Turned out beautiful. And the interior I painted to a tan color. So there was a rare casting with a tan interior, metallic blue tan interior. So I just did that to match up. And time to put the wheels and axles back together. The axles were a little bit long. I guess they kept them long because they actually sit inside the casting and they don't wobble around a lot because they're kind of guided by the body. But I did trim them down a little bit, and what I do is I hammer them flat, and once they're flat, then I'll run a drill over top of them with a nail punch cut down that fits inside the drill. And if you just spin and take your time, sooner or later that axle will mushroom over. Some guys use an impact drill, which I think probably would work great. I have to get one. So time to assemble the models, putting the new glass in the blue one. I'm using the old glass for the cream colored one because sooner or later I will replace it, and the cream color one will be easier to disassemble and replace the glass with down the road. This one has 2 tabs that need to be pried off, and as you've seen earlier, I damaged the base trying to get it off, and I don't want to do that down the road. So putting it back together, I think I started it the wrong way around and had to put it in actually the right way eventually. Here I'm removing that button head screw that got painted the same color as the body. Putting in that old broken glass. It came up very shiny, but still had a crack on the top. The white interior. So there's the decals. There was 2 types of decals. There was the long stripes and short stripes across the top of the roof. The longer stripes would have went with the metallic blue one, and the shorter stripes would have been with the cream colored. I'm just showing you there that these ones had already been cut out, so they just had to be wet and slid off the paper, where the other ones I had to trim them down and cut them. So a little patience, you take your time, make sure that they're well wet and they're sliding on the paper before you even attempt to put them on the body. And I'm bending the decal back the opposite way just to release it from the paper. And using a Q-tip and a little bit of water, a little bit of patience, I find if you just take your time, it goes well. You try and go quickly, it ends up tearing or ends up in the wrong place, and you try and slide
there you
it.
have it, the 47B Comer ice cream van.